Welcome to Mando and Friends, presented by Verizon. My name is Mando Fresko, and today I am with a legend, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the LBC.
You're with the flojo. I'm already falling asleep on this couch. This thing's like nice. It's really good.
Gabriel,
you guys have a budget.
Fluffy
Budget.
Iglesias.
I can't wait to see your bathroom. Here? I love it. It's very clean looking. It's very lush. I like.
Thanks. He said we have a budget.
Yeah, you can tell. No, seriously, you can tell. Because I've seen a lot of these interviews happen in garages, and I was at someone's house yesterday. Like they straight up just said, you know what, let's just turn the house into a thing. But nice. You guys, you could tell you pay rent.
Yeah.
You pay rent.
Yeah, we pay
nice.
Renter's insurance. And,
no.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the floor, everything, and this is like either you converted it or you got lucky and someone else fixed it up and then couldn't afford it because of COVID, and then you swooped in.
No, we moved in right before COVID, and we built it up, man. It
looks good.
Congratulations. We gotta do it up. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Fluffy, we're so happy to have you here, dude.
Thank you.
I know, we go back, man, and it's so nice to finally have you here on Mando and Friends, and we talk about your journey, dude. We'll be talking about your journey. So I'd love to.
Oh, you don't want to hear about the last 30-minute journey I had getting here? No. Not that journey. That felt like a journey.
I already had to take a big detour.
I felt like Columbus, man. I discovered this place. I didn't,
Talk to me about when you first fell in love with comedy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was 10 years old. I was watching Eddie Murphy Raw at home on VHS. VHS is the media, the way that we used to watch things back in the day, because you just assume that everyone understood the way that certain devices work. But back in 87, 88? Yeah, 80. I remember I had a Nintendo, fresh out the box, brand new. I was 10 years old, and I saw Eddie Murphy Raw because my mom said she wanted to go play bingo, and she left me at home to be. Back in the day, you would just leave your kids at home. You would tell the kids, hey, don't open the door for anybody, don't answer the phone. And that was it. You babysat yourself. There was no nannies. There was no special people around. It was just you. And so I went to the video store. I rented Eddie Murphy Raw, which is not something a 10-year-old should be watching, probably, but I did. And I was inspired. That's what got me excited about comedy. After I saw Eddie Murphy, I discovered Robin Williams, and then I discovered a whole bunch of other comics. There was a section at the video store, and I just started renting all these videos.
Dude, and at what point do you tell your family, you know what, I kind of like this. I want to become a comedian at some point. Does that
you know what? I was saying that from day one, but no one took it serious because I was also saying I want to be a professional wrestler and I also want to be a transformer. So they didn't really take me serious because I like Optimus Prime. And so my mom's like, si tú lo que tú quieras, mijo, lo que tú quieras, and they humor you because you're just talking out of your at that point. But so 10 years old, I knew at 10 this is what I wanted to do.
Dude, now your fam, traditional Mexican household, would you would say?
My family, traditional Mexican family, I don't know. I mean, I grew up, it was just my mom. Dad was out of the picture. My brother and sisters were already grown up and out of the house. So I'm the last of 6 kids, to my knowledge.
It'd be like that.
Last of 6 kids. So maybe it is a very traditional, Mexican family, but. I always tell people that, I had 1 brother and 4 sisters, and they're like, wow, that's a big family. And I go, actually, on my dad's side, my dad is like one of, I think, 16.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, damn, like there's no direct TV at home, no direct TV, no Nintendo, no Atari, no shuffleboard, there's no nothing, no checkers.
No Uno, nothing.
Nothing, man. They don't even know how to play paper, rock, scissors. It's like...
Yeah, my pops.
Vamos a jugar. Okay.
My pops is like 9. My mom's family is like 8. It was like that, dude. But I ask you the question if you grew up in a traditional Mexican household, because usually when you tell a traditional family parents, they'll say, oh, don't do this, don't do that, like non-traditional careers, right? So becoming a comedian would be a non-traditional career.
It was definitely a non-traditional path. However, my father being a mariachi and my mom falling in love with an entertainer, kind of like, she had her opinions about things, but more than anything, she wanted me to play it safe. Once I got a good job, because she told me it was a good job, that had benefits. I never had health insurance before. So the fact that I got a really good job at a cell phone company, making a really good decent living. Not even decent. I was balling for my age at the time. I was making $5K a month selling cell phones, and this is in the beginning when it was the boom of the cell phone, and just like I was working on commission. So, I had all these benefits, and my mom was like, "You have health insurance. You made it." That to my mom was like, "That's it. Don't mess that up." So for me to quit that to pursue this didn't sit well with her, because she's like, "You're giving up something. You're making really good money. You're paying all your bills. You have money in the bank, and you have insurance."
Right.
And that was big for her, because she's like, we didn't have insurance. We got lucky. We had, I think back then I was like, you had to go to some like guy in the neighborhood who had a little farmacia, if and you're getting the rubbing alcohol with a leaf in it, and you sell candles and cookies.
Yeah.
¿Qué necesita? There's a sobador in the back, and you're like, is this dude supposed to be touching me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's that smell? It's that weird smell. It wasn't like, lavender or those
You
scents
sure it wasn't
that you
a
get
botanica?
You know what? Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I was trying to find the right word for it. Because they say essential oils.
Yep. Oh yeah. You were in a botanica.
Yeah,
for sure.
so there was something going on. But anyway, my mom thought that me quitting my job to pursue comedy was like, but she was like, whatever makes you happy. And I think the fact that I wasn't asking her for money was a big deal. I was able to sustain. The only thing I asked my mom for was to co-sign. She always had to co-sign for me, because I ruined my credit when I was 18.
With what? With what you get up?
With not paying back my loans. I thought, they'll go away. And then I remember someone telling me that after 7 years, everything drops off your the credit and stuff like that. And so I was like, you know what? I'll wait it out. I'll wait it out. I'm in no rush. And then once the 7 years happened, they found ways of extending it. And I'm like, you know what? So yeah, they wound up getting me eventually.
Dude, so you're working at a cell phone.
Yeah, and then I pursued this career of being a comic. But yeah, it was a very much a non-traditional move.
Were you balancing both, or did you just make a jump into comedy?
No, I was balancing both. I was working selling cell phones during the day, and then at night I was going out doing shows. The thing is you can't just go perform and leave. That's not how it works. That's not how you grow in this business. You have to do your show, and you have to hang out. You have to socialize. You have to interact with people. At least that's what you had to do back then.
Yep.
I don't know so much now, because now everything is so digital, and everybody's got their phones and stuff. But back then you didn't. You had to hang out.
Yeah, network.
Thank you. You had to network. And so it was one of those, we'd all wind up at a Denny's or whatever was open late after a show.
Yeah.
And you're talking to other comedians, and you're trying to figure out, hey, so who else has a room? Who else has a spot to perform? Because back then we didn't have access to the comedy clubs. I couldn't get into a comedy club. It was all about rooms. So-and-so has a room here. So-and-so has a room there. Can I get a number? Can you recommend? And a lot of vouching. You had to vouch for somebody. They'll call for you. Hey, I called so-and-so. I told them you're funny. You're good for 10 minutes. And that's how you would do it back then. Man. And so staying out super late and then trying to go to work in the morning, because I'd go do a show and then hit a Denny's and hang out with a bunch of comics, and I wouldn't get to bed until about 4 a.m. And then I had to be up at 7. And you do that enough times, man, and I was falling asleep at work. And I got caught sleeping on the job a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
I snore, apparently. I snore. So there's a bear behind that counter.
At that point, who's part of your circle? Like, do you remember?
It was, at the time, it was a small group of guys. We all were, doing shows at certain spots around LA. There was a place called Prime Cut that eventually turned into Gotham.
Okay.
It was in Montebello.
Okay.
On Beverly, right across the street from the Beverly Hospital, which actually turned out to be really good, because people were always getting stabbed or shot in the parking lot. And so it's a quick little cross the street.
Just convenient. Yeah.
You don't wait for an ambulance. You just kind of plug the hole and walk across. You touch the button so you can get the green light.
You
walk over to the ER. But it happened a lot. It happened a lot where people were getting hurt in the parking lot. And it was just, not the best place to start a career. But I think ignorance is bliss. I had no idea how dangerous the area was. I was just a naive kid. I was 20 years old. I wasn't even allowed in the bar. I would sit on the restaurant side and wait until it was time for me to go up, and then I was allowed to go in. straight to the stage, perform, and then get off and go back into the restaurant.
Wow.
You're not allowed in the bar. And so fortunately, I turned 21 a couple months later. And then they're like, "Yay, you can hang out in the bar now." I'm like, yay. And I didn't know I was hanging out with bikers. There's a bunch of bikers in there.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big biker hangout. And here in LA, I think you know which gang it is. I'm not going to say the name because then they show up. They show up. But yeah, it was a rough area.
Hey, Mando here. Right now, you can have everything you want on the network you really want. Introducing my plan. Get exactly what you want, only pay for what you need. Starting at just $30 per line per month for 4 unlimited lines with autopay plus taxes and fees. From there, you decide exactly what goes in and what stays out of your plan. So you pay for what you want. Head over to Verizon.com/Mando right now.
You said Verizon.com/Mando, right?
Yeah, Verizon.com/Mando, but we're still shooting the commercial.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. Get exactly what you want, only pay for what you need, starting at $30 per line. All right, let me help you out. All right, so you go here.
And again, there was certain guys back then. Some are still around doing their thing, but you know, it was a handful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now there's so many comics out there. I can't keep tabs of who's who.
Yeah.
And now anybody can just say they're a comic, you know, because comedy's like, you know, you can be a comic on TikTok, you could be a comic on all these
Right.
different social platforms. And you know, I'm still old school where it's like, nah, you're not a comic unless you're on a stage holding a mic and you got a crowd and
Yeah.
and you're actually funny.
Yeah. You got to pay your dues.
People don't want to pay dues anymore. They want it right now.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to take the time to and I think it's important. I think it is important to pay dues because
Yeah.
you can't Google experience and just, you know, time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, you can try to get there quick, but you know, what are you going to do with it? There's a lot of comics that'll catch fire and all of a sudden they're hot, but can you do the show? Do you have the material?
Yeah.
Do you know how to handle it? And that only happens with time. You got to learn, you know, just, all right. Like the Dodger Stadium thing didn't happen overnight. That took 25 years.
100%.
And, you know, it was amazing. And I appreciated it that much more because I know how long it took and how hard I had to work to get to that point. It didn't happen overnight.
What would you say was your big break?
There's a lot of big breaks. There's not one thing that took me to that next, you know, that changed everything. There was a lot of, oh man, this led to this led to this led to this.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing ever was just me getting on stage for the first time. April 10th, 1997 at a little bar in Long Beach. Going up there for the first 3 minutes. I did 4 minutes
Wow.
on stage. If I don't do those 3-4 minutes,
Yeah.
we're not here talking.
Man.
You know, I'd probably be at a Verizon store selling cell phones. Verizon, what's up? I'm gonna give them a shout out because that's who I use. I would pull up my phone, but your guy's gonna get mad at me for having other things. Didn't like my cup. But yeah, so there was a lot of opportunities over the years. A TV show called Que Locos many years ago, which, you know, people over 35 remember. There was my first half-hour special on Comedy Central, and then there was my first hour special. And so each thing led to something else. At one point, I was on Nickelodeon.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I was actually a child star for a year. I was doing a show with Nick Cannon before he had 20 kids, and Amanda Bynes, and you know, so I was that guy. I was on a sketch comedy show when I was 21.
That was all that?
I was all that.
Dude.
And at the time, 21, but I looked 15 because I had a real baby face and I had braces and I just, you know, had a different energy, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay. And so I'm up there doing the voices. They liked all the characters and the sound effects and stuff like that. And so, you know, they brought me in and it was a good time.
I remember Que Locos very, very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And
For those of you watching, Que Locos was a television show that was on the Galavision network, which is, there's Telemundo, there's Univision, and then way down the barrel, there's a station called Galavision. And they would mostly have soccer on the network. It was just always a bunch of soccer and sports. And they would have stand-up comedy
Late
in
night.
English on a Spanish network, which people were like, ¿qué es eso? but they would run the hell out of the comedy shows. And so it didn't matter what time of day you turned on the TV, there was promos for that show.
Yeah.
And so people knew about it. It was the Latino answer to Def Jam at the time.
I love Que Locos, man. Obviously, I love funny movies, but that's when I discovered that I love comedy. And I was a teenager, or maybe 13 or something like that, watching Que Locos, and it had a nice run. Emilio.
And to see a lot of people of color on TV, it's like, whoa, you didn't know. And then a lot of the humor. It was,
yes.
It wasn't just like funny. It was like extra relatable, almost like a secret level of relatability where it's like, well, we said a word in Spanish. Like, oh, he said that word. Like, dang, like, you never heard certain words on television in Spanish. Like to hear Vicente Fernandez played on an American radio station. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what, they know about Chente? But that's what Que Locos was like back then.
For sure. We had Emilio Rivera here, who was at your birthday party recently. You guys are friends.
Emilio's a good friend. And from way back. A lot of people don't know that Emilio does stand-up as well.
Yeah, dude.
He's actually like, wow, really? He's a comedian? Yeah. I know he looks like a killer, and he probably could be. But he'll make you laugh while he's shanking you.
Yeah, that's real.
He's real. That's real deal. Don't mess with Emilio. Don't piss him off, man. Method actor. He's awesome.
Yeah, and so it was beautiful to see Latinos on this platform, and I remember, man, I started my radio career in 2005, and this is when I was doing street team. I went out to an event in Long Beach. It was by the Queen Mary. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like a reggae fest or something.
It was like some
that.
reggaeton. I know exactly the thing you're talking about. Yeah. I want to say, was it Power 106 putting it on?
Yeah. So that's where you walk through, and I remember thinking, oh, dude, that's Fluffy from Get Locos, dude. That's how I connected the two. And I was like, hey, what's up? Dude, that was a long time ago.
I had hair, hope, happiness, all the H's.
Yeah, and you were, super cool, man. And I remember thinking, like, dude, and I said hi to you, and you were, very.
I wasn't a diva yet. Where's my ice? I need my ice. Give me the ice.
Yeah. You weren't rolling up in a huge Hummer truck
yet. Yeah.
No, dude, and that's what I love about you, man. Is that you've always, kept it real and have been yourself from the get, man. And it's beautiful to see. That journey. You just mentioned Dodger Stadium. So Dodger Stadium, obviously, I'm sure you grew up going to games.
I got a chance to go to a few games.
And to be on, when did it hit you when you jump on that stage where you're like, what the hell? Was it like right when you're walking out in the middle of your set?
A lot of times I think my brain goes into this, go into like, you got to work and handle it. Yeah. And it's not until later on that I'm like, oh my God, that happened. Yeah. Later on, it always hits me later on. But for some reason that night in the first 30 seconds, like the crowd was so like loving and just the energy. I started crying in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I could hear people in the front row. I can hear in the front row, quiere llorar. Like, yeah, I'm gonna cry. Look at all these people here to see me. This is like, it was the biggest homecoming ever. It's like, people ask, were you nervous? And I'm like, I believe it or not, I wasn't nervous. There's 50,000 people there, excited and happy for you. Everyone wants to see you succeed.
Yeah.
Because by me succeeding and me making that statement, it shows others like, wow, you know what? Hey man, this guy could make his dreams come true. Why can't we? Why can't we go and do that? What's our excuse for not following through and doing what makes us happy and makes us just live? I'm a prime example that, hey man, sacrifice is the biggest thing. Come from a broken home, grew up on welfare, WIC. Sorry, some people don't know what is this? We were on Section 8, public housing. The names always change, but it's the same shit. Yeah, it's like, what advantage did I have? None.
Yeah.
I mean, look at me. I'm sitting here with a pillow, all barbudo, missing hair. It's just, I don't look like somebody that should be in show business, but I am. You know, so if someone that looks like me, talks like me, comes from the background that I come from, you know, Hollywood is nice, but Hollywood isn't what made this. I had to go out there on my own and create my own opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's what led to that. That's why that night was so special, because it's like all the hard work and all the sacrifice over the years, the nights of not sleeping, or the nights of being on the road, being away, missing birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, you know, relationships that got sacrificed along the way.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of people I had to upset
Yes.
in order to get here, because they weren't happy about me being gone, me being busy, me not having time. And that's a big part of it. Everyone says they want it, but how really? You want it, but are you willing to sacrifice for it? You know, there's a lot of apologies that happen over the years. A lot of I'm sorry I wasn't there. Sorry I couldn't make it. You
A
know?
lot of defending.
A lot of defending, and a lot of people that have come and gone.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't work out for them,
Right.
or it didn't work out for me. So, but yeah, sorry. It turned into therapy, huh? When I was 8.
No, you know, and I appreciate you sharing that with us, because it's key to not just success but growth, right?
You have to grow.
And sometimes people they're not meant to be part of your journey forever, you know, and not everyone's going to. I think not most people will not understand what you want, what your dreams are, regardless of how close they are, how long they've been in your life.
Yeah,
right?
there's that saying of the people you start with aren't always the people that you'll end with. Mm-hmm. And because people have come and gone, and people will say that they understand what you want. Like everybody in the beginning, yeah, you can do it, you go for it. And then you start doing it and you realize, all right, who's just saying it and who really means it? Mm-hmm. And yeah, there was a lot of in and out and back and forth. And
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because you know I can totally relate. Like it's so much sacrifice, and I think that's the number one thing that you have to do, and that's the number one thing that people refuse to do.
what are you willing to give up? That's what you need to ask yourself first before chasing a big dream, because there's going to be points where you have to make decisions, and uncomfortable decisions, and it's just like, ugh. And you can't make everyone happy. It pains me that I can't make everyone happy.
Right.
And so that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think that's human nature, right? Like
Yeah.
trying to make people happy.
Everybody
trying to make,
you want to be liked.
Yeah.
You want to be liked. You don't want to disappoint people. It sucks to make people sad or upset. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's part of it though.
Yeah, when you're on that stage at Dodger Stadium and you get emotional, are all those emotions and feelings and thoughts of the past and sacrifices, is that all just hitting you in that moment, or what
I
were you
think
thinking?
all of that hit me hour 2, because I was only supposed to do an hour and a half, and I at the 2-hour mark, once I told the crowd, I've officially fulfilled my contractual obligation with Netflix. They've got all their content. I go, so now it's my time. And so I pulled out a nice chest and I pulled out a bottle. And in front of 50,000 people, man, I was like, cheers. It turned into the biggest freaking hangout. It was like a big tailgate inside the park.
Yeah.
And so I just started drinking and reflecting and telling stories. And yeah, all of that hit at that point. And I invited Martin and Alfred to come back out on stage. And we just started sharing stories and moments and how important and how awesome it was to be there. And then I went over on time with Dodger Stadium, and I think I'm still paying for that fine.
No way, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We broke curfew. We were supposed to start at a certain time. We didn't start until maybe 2 hours later. The show started super late. It ended super late. And I remember leaving the park maybe 3, 4 in the morning. And then my team didn't leave until the next day. They were just all there, doing breakdowns and stuff like that to bring the set down. But yeah, it was quite the night. All of that hit me though, hour 2.
Yeah.
Hour 2 with drinking and looking at people, and nobody wanted to leave.
I bet.
And everybody was. I'm telling you, man, it was a celebration. It really was. I still get people coming up to me and they point and they go, "I was there that night," And I told everyone who was there that night, if you ever see me, and you were at this show, you'd let me know you were there that night.
Yeah.
And I intentionally took that out of the special for Netflix. So you won't hear me say that on the special because that was only meant for the people that were there that night.
That's amazing, dude. That stadium show was obviously massive. And even the promo to it, I remember just driving and working. I was at BMO Stadium. That was the Bank of California Stadium. And I would get there early for rehearsal, and I would see
the airplane
come. And then when everyone showed up and the stadium was full, the airplane would show up again, and it was just like massive for billboards, obviously, and well worth it, man. Like it was beautiful to see that entire journey from before it happened to when it happened, then after, and then the show goes live on Netflix, man. And it's again beautiful to see someone like yourself, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Doing that. Now, you talked about storytelling. At what point do you realize, hey, I'm pretty good at storytelling, or at what point does that become your way of doing your comedy?
Okay, so there's a thing where they say you got to find your voice. And basically, it took me a minute to realize that was the way that I was going to go. Because in the beginning, all I was doing was impressions of cartoons or people. And it was always an easy laugh because I would do an impression of something having sex. Anytime it was a cartoon or somebody having sex, it for some reason was just funny. And it would always work. But, it didn't tell anybody who I was as a person. It didn't explain what I was trying to convey. It was just a quick laugh. So I'm up there doing like Marvin the Martian having sex, and yeah, it was fun. Oh my modulator. Like, oh my God, that's hysterical. I can picture that. See, you guys are laughing. Yeah. So funny, but it told no one nothing about me.
Right.
And I think when I first told a story about me being at a nightclub, and I says, God, I'm trying to remember the bit. It had to do with me dancing. It says, I like dancing with big girls because we finish at the same time. We both so I did a bit where I'm dancing, we both get winded, and we're both on the floor, and I'm like, hey, you hungry? Come on, let's get out of here. And it was like, okay. So it started right there, and then I just started incorporating all the things that were happening.
Yeah.
And I found that it was so much easier and so much more fun and organic for me to just share real stories. And I was talking about people I was hanging out with. And the people I was hanging out with, it was all comics. So I was doing impressions and bits of me hanging out with other comics and some of the conversations we would have, and I would just take that to the stage. And then I just, anytime I'd be around certain people, I'd hear a voice that would stand out. I'd try to mimic it and share stories about experiences. And so eventually I just figured out, you know what? Me telling stories is fun. And they would never come out the exact same way. Like if you have a joke, it's very structured, the setup and then the punch, the delivery.
Yeah.
But with the stories, man, it's like sometimes the stories would take 5 minutes. Sometimes the stories would take 10 minutes. It just depends. And I'd remember certain other details and I'd add to it. And it just, it worked out.
Do you remember radio used to be called, they would call the theater of the mind, right? And I feel like that's what you do with your comedy. It's like the theater.
Paint a picture.
Yeah. Your people are following you. They're visualizing everything that's happening while you're, sharing your stories. And yeah, dude, it's like people get to know, a lot of, in the last 10 years, YouTubers and, the Kardashians, reality shows, all that has become a thing because people find a connection to some way, somehow. For you, I think it's become you telling your stories through comedy that they have they know Martin and they know, your stepson.
By telling real stories, yes.
But you don't call him a stepson, you call him your son, like that type of thing. And that's such a unique way of going about it, man. And it's I'm sure people feel like they know you just by Like literally, they feel like, hey, I know Gabriel just because I've seen his Netflix, and other comedy shows.
Yeah,
That's pretty wild.
And it's been challenging to put out certain information because when you do put out information about yourself, people will say, oh, okay, yeah, I paid attention. You said you like Diet Coke. Oh, hey, people bring me Diet Coke to the show, like a offering here.
We got some in the fridge if you're ready.
Right? See? Or chocolate cake. And like I feel sometimes like I disappoint people when it's not the case. Like when people see me in the street, they're like, how come you're not wearing a Hawaiian shirt? Because I own T-shirts too. Because I like Star Wars, and like someone caught me wearing pants the other day. And like, you're wearing pants. I'm like, I wear pants too, man. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think you wore pants. I'm like, yeah, it happens. It happens. Some people are like, when did you lose your hair? Like, when did you stop paying attention? Like, like, yeah, I wear the hats. I mean, I've always had short hair, but yeah, in the last couple of years, I'm not 26 no more, man. I just turned 47, so I'm like, ooh,
man.
Yeah, it's just that's what's left.
That's beautiful.
But it's a badge of honor, man. It's like, I used to get upset whenever people would call me sir. I'm like, I'm not a sir, and now I'm like, no, I'm good with that. I got gray in here. I got nothing up here. It's like, yeah, I'm all right. But I was at a restaurant one night, and I ordered a dessert. I ordered like a key lime pie, and someone's walking by, and they're like, what, no chocolate cake? I'm like, am I not allowed to have how come you're not eating chocolate cake? I go, honestly, I'm tired of chocolate cake. And they're like, what? I go, bro, I said, imagine it's been your birthday every single day since 1997.
Yeah.
I've received no less than 3,000 cakes.
Wow.
Over the years.
You and Steve Aoki.
Nice. Yeah, he gets cake because he throws the cakes out of the crowd. But yeah,
he throws them, you eat them.
Mm-hmm. But people do think that they, and yes, a lot of the things that I put out there are fact.
Yeah.
They'll see me out with my son Frankie, and they're like, "Are you Frankie?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Oh my God, you're real." I go, "Yeah, I didn't make up a kid." You know what I mean? But I just had to be careful about saying certain names or putting people. Some people don't want their privacy out there.
Sure.
Like with my ex-girlfriend, I never once said her name on stage. I would talk about her, but I never put her name out there just to keep her privacy.
Yeah.
And now we're not together, and she's grateful that I never put her name out there because no one is like, she doesn't need to hear 20 times a day, so what happened?
Yep.
Where's he at? You should have made him chocolate cake. Did you know he likes chocolate cake?
Yeah.
Girl, you could have kept it if you would have made it. I bet she made him wear pants. Like,
yeah, that's real, dude.
but I mean, if somebody sees me in the street and they're like, Fluffy, I'm like, hey, hey, what's up? Unfortunately, I can't make everyone happy because some people aren't content with me waving. Some people aren't content with, hey, get out of the car. I'm not getting out of the car. Oh
dude,
yeah, I get
you've
people,
gotten that?
I get people that try to pull me out of the car. I get people recognizing me on the freeway and then get mad that I won't pull over to take a picture. I'm like, we are on the 405 freeway, and you, the whole family right there, and they're right next to you. Ah! And I'm like, and I'll wave, but pull over, pull over. No. Oh, and then they'll message me later. Hey, how come you wouldn't pull over to take a picture? You don't care about your fans. Like, we're in traffic. I don't know you, dude. I'm gonna get out of the car somewhere random. It's like, oh, we're not gonna do nothing to you. I don't know that. The guy that killed John Lennon, took a picture with him a half hour before. Didn't like his selfie. I'll be back. You never know at restaurants, and I put it out there in the past that if you want to say hi to me, it doesn't matter when, but that was then. I think now it's like if I'm eating something, I get people that want to try to sit and get into the, like, hey, let's take can I have my pasta?
Yeah.
I'm leaving. I was like, all right. I was like, okay, all right. I'm not gonna snap on anyone. I will make a face. I'll make a cara. I was like, ugh. All right. I got to check myself.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
I'm in public. Let's do it. I was at the freaking soccer game on Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a friend of mine, Emily, she got us. We were in a suite, and the suite, I was sitting in the front row, and then the first right in front of the suite is an aisle. People are walking back and forth, and so I'm watching the game, and I just hear, Fluffy, because they're down there, and they see me. I'm like, oh hey, and I wanted to miss it like half the game because then it turned into this massive meet and greet right there. So I was signing more jerseys than the players. Here you go. But and then the fire marshal and security were getting upset. Like, hey man, you're not making my job easy. I'm like, well, sorry, I'm not gonna be the people. They want say hi, and I was cool with it.
Yeah.
But I have my days where it's good, and I have my days where I'm kind of like,
you're human, man.
And if I know that I'm not in the best of moods, I try to avoid people.
Yeah.
Just because I don't want them to see me get all like huffy and puffy, and I got my little spurts of, yeah. You saw that when I got out of the car. I was a bitch on wheels, man. I was just like, I can't make. How many times I gotta move this car?
It's like
I'm just mad. I don't know how to make a crab walk yet.
I think that's what it was.
Pinche dinero for a car and I don't know how to use it. No ice. What the
Look,
can we get you anything? You guys were all like ready, like we got this. We got Diet Cokes.
we got the.
We didn't know he liked ice.
Why wasn't that on the email? We had
that in the
Diet
writer.
Coke. We had
Put that in
everything
the
ready to
writer.
go. Yeah, man.
But yeah, again, some people. I wish people really knew more about me, which is fun to do interviews like this because you could put stuff out there like that. Oh, I didn't know that, or things that make me happy, things that kind of rub me wrong. It's, I try to have good interactions with people because I put myself in their shoes because I remember what it was like to meet people that I was like, oh my God, it's him. Like I remember meeting Shaq twice, and one time was good and one time wasn't good.
Yeah.
But later on, once I became an entertainer, I had to ask myself the question, what was going on in his life that day that made him that way? And I think back and I'm like, he was at the airport. It was early in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I picture myself at an airport early in the morning. I'm usually crudo, I'm all hungover because I picked the worst days to drink. Or I'm just tired. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people are a little extra in the mornings, like, oh my God. And you got somebody yelling in your face. It's like, dude, man, I can still hear the freaking, all right.
Yeah.
And so when I met Shaq at the airport, I asked him for a picture and he was like, okay, cool, let's take a picture. And so I was like, all right. And so I'm trying to do a selfie and he was just like this. And I looked at him, I said, can you smile? And he's like, take the pic, like, but stupid me, why am I telling him to smile?
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
already
yeah.
agreeing to take the picture with me, and I'm over here trying to freaking, be the guy at Walmart. Okay, big eyes now. All right, good energy. We want to make this look right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about the fact he still said yes to the picture.
Yeah.
But I'm over here asking for more. Like, why? Just be glad that he's in the picture with you. And then the next time I met him, he knew who I was then, and it was a different thing. And I told him, I go, hey man, first time I met you, you were just having a rough day. Where? And I was like, oh, we're at the airport. Oh man, I hate the airport. Airports suck, and then he's like, I'm a big guy, but I'm not Shaq. Mm-hmm. I fit in this chair. Very comfortable. Yes. But Shaq is he's a massive person who just, sometimes it's not comfortable. And when you're not comfortable, you're cranky.
For sure.
Anyway, everybody's got their moments. That was the point.
Yeah, no.
Not long-winded.
And going back to it, I mean, people forget that
we're all humans
even
too.
Celebrities are humans, and they can have their good days and their bad days, and
but nobody feels
okay.
bad for people like the Kardashians are some tortured souls. All right, they're rich and famous, but man, I read some of the comments. I'm like, oh, I get mad when someone tells me, oh man, you look sick that day. I'm like, I wasn't sick. What's wrong with my face? Something's up with your eyes. What's up with my eyes, man? So I can only imagine. How, because people love them, and it's like that equal thing where because of their status, you get hated on.
Yeah.
And if they have a bad day, they like Kim with the divorce and the back and forth. Some people are just mean, and
100%.
it's just like they're going through their own thing too. But because they're seen a certain way or they have certain money or fame, they're like, people don't feel as
You signed up
sympathetic.
for this, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, not for that. You talked about the airport. You just recently had this situation.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah. Yes, almost died a couple weeks ago. I'm not gonna lie, man.
What happened?
What happened was I was on a private plane. Pobrecito, he was on a private plane. That's what he gets for flying private. He should have stuck to Southwest. Este cabrón. Yeah, I was flying private from Alabama to North Carolina. Okay, it was a short flight. It should have been like 45 minutes to an hour. And it was raining that day. And as soon as we got up off the ground, we got into a little gray cloud. And the plane was, and I've been in plane, a lot of flights with turbulence, but the turbulence was so bad, it just went boom. The plane just did one of those. Oof. And I left the seat. I didn't have a seatbelt on because it's a private plane and you do what you want. I didn't have some sky, freaking telling me to put on your seatbelt. There was no little bell or nothing like that. I'm like, whatever. I'm just gonna sit and chill. And I left the ground. And I saw my dogs in the dog beds, and the dog beds floated, like everything just came up.
Yeah.
And then just there was stuff all over the floor, and so it was for me it was scarier in the sky. The turbulence was like, I'd never felt that before. I never left my seat. And then coming in for the landing, we came in really fast, and the runway was super wet, and you could still feel the wind and the rain, and we're coming in, and
wow.
As soon as the plane touched the ground, usually when the plane touches the ground, you feel the reverse thrusters and you feel the braking immediately. And we didn't. It stayed going fast. Ooh. And so before I know it, we leave the runway and I just see zacate, see grass and dirt hitting the window. And you could feel we're in dirt. We're in dirt. And it's like, it was smooth. And you know what it feels like when you drive over like gravel and stuff like that. It's just, that's what it felt like. And it came to a stop. And there was no warning. Hold on. There was none of that. In the movies, they always give you a heads up.
Yeah.
Brace for impact. None of that shit. The plane hits the ground. We're in a field, and then the door opens up, and the guy's like, "You good? You all right? You okay? Everybody good?" Like, dude, are you okay? So, getting off the plane, man, we were all shook up, and it was about 200 yards.
Wow.
So walking in a wet field con los perros. I had my dogs with me, so I got my dogs and we're just walking.
Yeah, no, I saw when you posted and you were outside of the plane. What was the scariest part? Like that turbulence, or when you landed and you saw the
turbulence definitely was the scariest part for me. The landing, I think that we've had landings where you come in fast, then the plane slows down. That moment I realized that we weren't slowing down, I started to freak out. And then when we hit the dirt, when I could see the grass, I'm like, oh my God. So I'm just like waiting to, like, is the plane gonna tip?
Yeah. Oh.
Because now we're not on concrete, we're on land. And so getting off the plane, I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, this looks like a scene from the movie Lost.
Yeah.
Or that TV show Lost.
It looked like that.
Yeah, we're like, there's a field, you see cows. I'm like, we could have hit a cow. That would have sucked.
Yeah.
I probably would have been vegan after that. But we didn't, so burgers.
Bring on the steaks. Wow, dude. Was it one of those like light flashing before your eyes? Yeah.
Totally. I made a couple phone calls immediately when I got on the ground, when I was, and I messaged my son. I go, hey, before you hear about it on the news, I just need you to know that we had an emergency landing. I'm okay. Everybody's okay. But don't freak out if people start reaching out to you.
Wow.
And sure enough, it was nationwide news in about 2 hours. Because I posted a video. And then next thing you know, TMZ's calling. Everybody's like, is it true? I go, yes, it's true. We're okay. We're all good. Is the show still going to go on? I go, yeah, the show's still going to happen. I didn't just survive this flight and not perform.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go on stage.
When is it a thing for you when you have to cancel shows? Is that always very difficult? Is that...
I don't like disappointing people. I don't like people messaging me going, because some people, you got to always remember, when people come out to see the show, they're making plans. It's a thing, and a lot of times I think people forget that. So, I mean, I do take it to heart whenever I can't do a show for whatever reason. But people make plans. They got to get sitters if they got kids. some people want to dress up. Some people haven't gone out in a long time. The price of the ticket, like, oh, you had to go back and forth. Some people, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my ticket prices are a lot. I'm very affordable, by the way. It's not like going to a Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
I'm going next month, by the way. What's up, Tay Tay? A lot of people make plans, and so when you don't make the show, then it's like they don't. A lot of times people don't want to ask, why did he cancel? It's just, you messed up my plans. And so I'll get messages like, how dare you cancel? We've been planning this for, a lot. So, yeah, I feel it. It's like, it sucks. I hate canceling, and unless it's absolutely necessary, I'll perform if I'm sick. So if I'm sick, if I got a cold, I'll still, as long as I can talk.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a few weeks ago I lost my voice. I was doing a show in Austin, and the day before my show, I did a interview. I went to go do the Joe Rogan podcast. And by the way, that pissed off a whole bunch of people. That was fun. I was actually supposed to be in West Nyack, New York that weekend. And my shows were already sold out. We were set to go to West Nyack, New York. And when I got the call that Rogan wanted to have me on the show, I said, well, this is the biggest show on the planet. Of course I want to go and do Rogan's show, and you want to get your name out there and promote and have other people look at you. But people got upset that I canceled that West Nyack weekend to go to Austin, because in addition to doing the Joe Rogan podcast, I also wanted to do his comedy club, the Comedy Mothership, which is an amazing club.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. I'd like to go back. But yeah, West Nyack, sorry, they got mad. They got mad. And then, of course, I did Rogan's show, and then people that love him, and the people that don't love him, message me to let me know that.
Yeah. People are very
you're guilty by association.
Right.
You're guilty by association. And even though we didn't talk politics, we didn't talk vaccines or anything that would probably trigger someone.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
What was I doing on that show?
It's by affiliation.
Yeah.
Guilty by affiliation.
Guilty by affiliation. But I had lost my voice, and so I was talking like this, and I'm sure, So even if I'm sick, like the point was, I try not to cancel, but sometimes you just have to.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. When COVID happened, I was supposed to record a comedy special in San Antonio, and I got COVID, and this was the first round. And so if you got COVID, they made you quarantine yourself for like 2 weeks. And unfortunately, I got sick and had to go home. And people were like, really? And I'm like, hey man, look, I don't make the rules.
Right. Long Beach. That's your hometown.
Yes. I still actually live there too.
I think that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
What about
even Snoop left? Snoop don't live there no more. I forget where he lives now, but he's not in Long Beach.
What about Long Beach do you feel made you who you are?
Oh man. God, I've been there since I was a kid. I was born in San Diego, and then I lived in a bunch of different places over the course of a couple years. And then eventually my mom and I settled in Long Beach and just been there ever since. It's just home. It's just, I feel more comfortable there. I've had opportunities to leave. I lived in Whittier for a couple minutes. I had a townhouse there for a bit, but I was like, I kept wanting to come back. It's like, I think a lot of it has to do with my mom, because everywhere I drive around Long Beach, there's memories. Like, oh, I remember, this is where, and every time I have people in the car, I always take them on the Gabriel Iglesias, where it all started tour. And so we'll start going up the streets, and sometimes people are in the car and they're like, oh, he's taking us on his tour again. And I used to eat right there, and he's about to tell us where he got mugged. And I got mugged right there. Yeah. Here we go. Like, they've already memorized the
fluffy tour.
Yeah, the fluffy tour. My mom and I used to eat right there at the Bright Spot. We used to go over here. And so, I mean, for me, it's nostalgic, and I feel very comfortable there.
Yeah.
I've wanted to move many times, but I keep coming back. And, what about the city makes me? I think that it's just, I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely a Long Beach guy, and I'm very proud of my city. And, it's got its issues like every city, but yeah, that's home.
Marvin, our photographer here, he's born and raised in Long Beach.
Oh, yeah? What high school did you go to? He's a Ram. Okay.
Milliken.
Yeah.
What high school did you go to?
Wilson.
Wilson.
Bruins.
Okay.
Bruins, yeah. So if let's see, the way that it worked was if you're really really smart or really really athletic, you went to poly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for the people with brains and people with bronze. You know, went to poly. And if you were questionable, you went to Wilson. If you lived a little far, out of the close to the outside, you wound up at either Milliken. If you were completely ghetto, you went to Jordan. Because Jordan was just like, ooh, it was like North Long Beach, and then you cross the street and you're in Compton, and so
Yeah,
there's a lot of issues going on at that school.
Yeah. Where'd the Snoop go?
Snoop went to school at Poly,
Poly.
and see that's an interesting one because I don't know if Snoop was in a elite program like a PACE or one of these, but I know he went there at the same time Cameron Diaz went there, and the big story is that Cameron used to buy her from Snoop, which sounds great. Like I know I'm 47, so I think Snoop is in his 50s for sure. But I don't know, when things change where all of a sudden Poly became that this they were always a school that had athletes. A lot of the majority of it's the number one school for people in the NFL. More people have come from Poly, from that particular high school than any other high school.
Man, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A
lot of athletes.
I want to talk about we were just talking about the fluffy
Oh,
tour.
by the way, before I forget, so hanging out with Snoop, aside from the smoking thing, which has happened multiple times now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't say no to him. WrestleMania, I was there, and they asked me to go on Snoop's bus and interview him for WWE social media. And I went on there with a camera crew, and it wasn't even an interview. It's like, as soon as I got on the bus, Snoop was like, "Hey, what it do, nephew?" And come on over here. And he gave me a gift. He gave me a Snoop Dogg bag, a little backpack that had his face on it. And then he gave me this little red box. And he goes, "This for you." And I grabbed the little red box, and on top of the red box, it said Death Row,
Wow.
the logo.
Yeah.
Right? And so I opened it, and man, there's this big freaking Death Row necklace.
Wow.
And the chain and you could feel the weight. Feel it. It's like a 2-pound chain. And I'm like, oh my God. And he pulled it out of the box and he goes, "Turn around, I'm gonna put it on you." And he put the chain on me on camera, and you could feel the weight. And this is all on camera. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then as soon as the little thing locked, and I'm the camera crew, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, I think I just joined Death Row. Yeah. I think I just joined Death Row. I go, do I gotta go put money on? Do I gotta go put money on Suge's books now at jail? What's gonna happen? And then you know what else I found out that day? Snoop has his own cereal, because that's what I started eating a few minutes later on his bus. I had no shame. There was no fucking milk. I'm just here. I raw dogged that cereal. Just throw my cornflakes, Snoop Flakes. Just eating the freaking. It was a mess.
Snoop, what doesn't Snoop have though? Snoop
You know
has
what? Okay, can I just take this moment to tell you that apparently every dream I've ever had in life, Snoop had it first. Whatever it is that I want to do, Snoop has already done it. I'm a sound bitter right now, but no matter what it is, Snoop has done it and has done it better. I've been a huge fan of WWE, WWF, wrestling since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be part of WrestleMania. I always wanted to be part of, and Snoop's already done it. Been in the ring, and even that day when I interviewed him, I got to hang out on the bus with him, and then he gets to drive the car to the ring and be in the ring and knocking fools out. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. I'm working with Funko.
Yeah, yes, you
I'm
are.
like, Funko, and then Funko's like, "We love you, Gabe. We love you." But who do they give a store to? Snoop. Snoop has his own Funko store. I don't have my own Funko store. You can buy my stuff online. I got my online store. It's not the same. Let's see. There was another thing. Oh, I have my pets, my dogs. Right? I'm trying to come out with a pet line. I'm at Petco the other day, and who's there in the aisle? Bow Wow. Like this has everything. I love Jack in the Box. I'm trying to collab with Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box gave him his own freaking Jack in the Box red. Come out to Snoop in the Box. I'm not going to Snoop in the Box just so I can talk. I'm mad. Like, everything. I've been telling everybody, I go, everything I want, Snoop got it first. And he's doing it like it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever it is.
Snoop has now been on a Tapatio bottle.
You know why he hasn't been on a Tapatio bottle? Because he hasn't approached Tapatio. I promise you anything. If Tapatio gets a phone call from Snoop and Snoop says, I want to be on the bottle, they're gonna put his ass on the bottle in 2 seconds.
But you were first.
Yeah, I can say I was first on that one, but people forget me if they see Snoop on the bottle.
Yeah.
But anyway, there, I just needed to vent that. Yeah, freaking Snoop.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about Funko. I know you've had.
I don't have a store. I do not have a Funko store. I have a lot of figures. That's
Yep.
okay. I can say I beat Snoop on that one. I have more figures than Snoop. I had approached Funko many years ago, and a lot of people know Funko now, Funko
Yeah.
Pops. But back then, they had just become the answer to Beanie Babies, and I knew that there was something there, and I wanted to, like, how can I get in the mix with this company? I want to have my own figure. And they had something for people with, TV shows, movies, athletes, YouTubers, but they didn't have a comics, line. And so we reached out and said, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I want to see about having my own figure. And they're like, well, we know who you are, but we don't have a comics thing. I go, I know, I'd like to be the first. I'm like, well, and they basically passed. And so a couple years later, we called again. And they're like, okay, we get it, but we're still not interested in licensing. However, if we would be interested in making the product for you, just buy it from us, and then you could sell it on your own. But we're not going to license it. We're not going to put it on our stores, but you can buy it. However, you got to buy a certain amount. And I think they were trying to scare me with that amount. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, what? And next thing you know, a semi shows up. A semi. That's how many I had to buy. A semi's worth of Funkos. And we sold out.
Wow.
Yeah. We did have a problem in the beginning because when I put them online, the website crashed. The website crashed before we could even sell one because there was so many people waiting. We had no idea how passionate the fans are about wanting to get the Funkos.
Yeah.
And there's fans, and then there's also resellers. Mm-hmm. And the resellers are very aggressive. So they go in there with bots and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so they crashed my site. And so then people started yelling like I could hear them, but it felt like it. They started
Writing
saying,
in
"How
all
come-"
caps.
Yeah, but they're telling me like what I should have done.
Yeah.
You should have used Shopify. You should have used this. You should have used that. You could have done this. You could have done that. And it sucks, but it was a learning process. We had to learn.
Yeah.
We had to learn the right way to package them, the right way to sell them online, the right way to charge, trying to figure out the pricing, trying to figure out, the packaging and stuff like that, because the fans want that Funko Pop to be pristine. Not just the little monito inside, the little figure. They want the box to
too.
look crisp.
Yep.
The edges can't be dented. There can't be creases in it. There can't, like the shoes.
Yep.
That Funko Pop has to be as pristine as your shoes. Nothing wrong with it, right? Yeah. And so the packaging, it was a big learning process. So once we figured it out and got yelled at, took our lickings, and then, once we had one and we sold out, Funko was like, well, if you'd like to do a second one. And we're like, we'd like to do a second one. And then we killed it. And then you got to remember, too, I was selling online and I was selling at my concerts. And so, dude, we were just going through them.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, we had a third one. And by the time I got to the third one, other comics started jumping on board. That's when Joe Coy got in the mix. Jeff Dunham got in the mix.
Yeah.
And so I think now I'm up to, there's probably about 15, 16 figures.
Wow.
Some that are already out and some that are still coming out.
Congratulations, man. That's massive.
So that's the one thing I could say I got over Snoop. I got more monos.
Yeah, talk your talk, man. Talk
More
your talk.
monos, that's right. Can't believe they give him a Jack in the Box. Like dude, I get it. Munchie meal. I get it. But man, I'll eat there during the day without being, whatever.
So we talked about Snoop. We talked about the Long Beach tour that you give your guests, your friends who come to Long Beach. Let's talk about the Fluffy tour. Right now you're doing shows.
Yeah. Well, I never really stop. I just kind of slow down a little bit as far as doing arenas or theaters and stuff like that. I was doing comedy clubs for the last 6 months. And it's funny because the first week back to doing big shows, big venues. First week back, we got the private plane, and then we almost flew off the run. You know, we
Yeah.
almost like my buddy Martin was like, "Dude, man, really? First week back?" Because we were flying commercial. For 6 months, all we did was commercial, and I was just like, "Yeah, it was good. It was fine." And then here we go. All right, pinche Richie Valens. Vas a ver. Vas a ver. I was already picturing people freaking Fluffy. Not my Fluffy. Not my Fluffy. But anyway, sorry. You were the tour. Yes, we're back on tour. The tour is now called, and it's funny because the tour is now called "Don't Worry, Be Fluffy."
I love it.
And the theme and the vibe is very 90s. I'm a 90s guy. That was my prime. Como dicen, mis meros moles. Yeah, good times. 90s.
Yeah. Say it one more time. It's
Don't Worry, Be Fluffy tour.
Don't Worry, Be Fluffy.
Don't Worry, Be Fluffy tour.
It's
yeah.
also, in a way, like embracing your curviness as you always do.
Nah, I'm always embracing the curviness, man. Always. Martin is on this whole Bopo kick right now. He's like body positivity, and so he's posting a lot of pictures of him wearing barely anything. I'm like, dude, at this point, just get an OnlyFans, bro. Get an OnlyFans. I'll promote it. We'll split it. Dude, I'll put Martin out. I got no problem. My friend out. Put him out there talking about big nipple energy. Yeah, man. Let's do this.
Yeah,
I go,
yeah.
like, there's no other comics out there freaking doing it. If you do OnlyFans and you make money, I might even try it, depending on, I got no problem showing my feet.
Yeah.
I'll sell feet pics. You want to see these, man? Hey, if the price is right.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That'll bring in more cash than the Funkos.
I'm just saying, because with the way things are going right now, I think we're all going to get replaced with AI in any minute now. So enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
brother, man, before I let you go, we're going to do rapid fire with Fluffy.
Oh, rapid fire. Okay.
Let's do
All right,
it.
wait, let me take a sip of my warm ass coffee because no ice.
we gotta take care of the ice next time. All right, we got it. By the way, Tatiana just went to go see you in Glendale.
Where at? Glendale.
Burbank.
Flappers.
Yep.
Okay. How'd you like the show?
First show, hilarious, man.
Thank you.
You knocked it out.
Thank you. That's such a fun little intimate club. It's very nice.
First time there. Your first show that I got to actually in person witness, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a very different experience than going to like an arena show.
For sure.
Because there at that club you can see all the way to the back row, so you can see everybody's face in the room.
Yeah, I love small like
Intimate.
comedy. Yeah. Comedy. What is it? Comedy.
In an intimate environment.
Intimate
versus-
environment spaces. Yeah, dude. I mean, stadiums too, but like it's like you've talked about how when you're in a big stadium, you hear yourself, your voice come back.
Yeah. Hello. Hi.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was gonna be like at Dodger Stadium, because I've done the announcement. And it's now time for Dodger baseball. Ball.
Yep. Well, yes. Anyway, Tatiana
I'm glad you came out to the show. I'm glad you
said
liked it.
said that you killed it there.
And you saw Martin too, right?
I saw him.
Yeah.
That's why this whole like body positivity. I'm like,
Bopo.
yeah, I went. He's doing it.
Right. See, you followed him. See that? Yeah. Hashtag Bopo. Bopo warrior. He's a Bopo warrior.
All right,
And
here
then
we
he's
go.
got amazing hair too. So that hair, yeah, you could do anything with that hair.
It's like machete, like a sexy
Yeah,
machete.
but like, yeah, thank you. I'm not gonna say that because I don't look at him that way, but
and I do.
I will. Hey man, hey, to each their own.
All right, here we go. Rapid fire.
questions. I'm ready.
Salsa roja or salsa verde?
Roja.
Favorite food dish?
Favorite food dish? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Dude, I'm such a basic B, man. I like some enchiladas. Just regular tortillas.
Green or red? Green? Red.
I like either one, believe it or not. And I think actually green is spicier for some reason. I still add tapatio to it at the end.
I see what you did there. Best song to play at a party?
Best song to play at a party. Ooh. I guess it depends. Something by Chente, of course. It's going to get people, singing, crying. It depends on the time, but you can't go wrong with Chente. So maybe Volver. People start singing along to it.
Greatest rapper of all time?
Greatest rapper of all time. For me, DJ Quick. DJ Quick was my favorite rapper in the 90s. Like, Quick is the name. He sounded different. And I know all of the songs. All of the songs. And it's just
What's your
like
favorite?
Shoot, let's see. Tonight, I would say which song is my favorite, but the name is very off color.
Okay. Second favorite.
Yeah, yeah. The song is my favorite song. Yeah, it's "Sweet Black Puppy." You'll figure it out.
Yeah. I think we all did in this room.
That's what happens too if you're up late at night. You're trying to send dirty text messages. You got to be careful because your phone will autocorrect. Yeah.
Puppy.
Yeah. Right now. Yeah. Puppy.
We've done the show for 3 seasons, and there's only one more person, and additionally to you, that have said DJ Quick, and that's Ceniesa Estrada, the world champion boxer.
Oh wow.
Ceniesa loves DJ Quick. Best singer of all time.
Ooh, best singer of all time. I don't know why immediately I thought Luis Miguel, but I don't believe that, but that's his name popped into my head right now.
We'll take it.
But yeah, he gets down.
He does get down.
He gets down.
Have you seen him live?
Yes, I've seen him live a couple
Ooh,
times.
Nice. Lastly, what's a nickname of yours that no one really knows about?
Oh God, here we go. Kikino.
Kikino.
Yeah. I have no idea. They've been calling me that since I was a little kid. And only family has ever called me that. I forget which sister nicknamed me that because I guess I looked like some puppet that was on Spanish television. And I think the puppet's name was Titino. But I guess I couldn't pronounce Titino at the time. And so I was like, Kikino. And then that stuck. And so that was my nickname growing up.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Well, Kikino.
Yeah, there we go. Here come the messages.
I want to thank you so much for coming, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias, make some noise, everybody.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Hashtag ice machine.
We'll get one. It'll be wrapped and everything, with your Funko doll on it.
Right? We'll put some stickers on it.
Brother, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching and listening to Mando and Friends, presented by Verizon.